Senator.
Okay. So if you've got 10 cases of clear fraud, you and the deputy and the attorney general will sit down and decide which ones to prosecute and prioritize.
Well, Senator, when it comes to the case level, that work happens within our line AUSAs.
Counselor, I got 5 minutes. No disrespect. You're a good guy. Answer my question.
At the programmatic level and as we build out the division, those decisions will be made with the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General. With respect to specific case questions,
Do you already have cases in mind?
I do not have cases in mind, Senator.
Okay.
In this explosive Senate hearing exchange, Senator John Kennedy presses the Department of Justice's top fraud nominee on Medicaid fraud, SNAP program abuse, governors who deliberately ignore fraud to protect federal funding, the legal independence of inspectors general, and whether deliberately misleading poverty statistics even qualifies as fraud under the law. The answers he gets reveal everything wrong with how the federal government handles accountability, and why the American taxpayer keeps paying the price. Watch the full breakdown of every segment of this hearing and understand exactly what was said, what was avoided, and what it means for the future of fraud prosecution at the DOJ. Let's dive into the main video.
On your nomination, what kind of fraud are you going to go after?
Senator, the core that I would say that we're going to go after within this division initially as we build out will be taxpayer-funded programs such as Medicaid, such as the SNAP program, and other subsidiary HHS, USDA, et cetera, programs. We will be putting our view there.
Who's going to make the decision about which of these specific types of fraud you go after?
Senator, in the course of building out investigations, we work directly with the federal investigators.
Who's going to make the decision about which specific types of fraud you go after?
Senator, with respect to this role, I believe I will be working with the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General to figure out how we prioritize this mountain of fraud.
So it's you, the Deputy Attorney General, and the Attorney General?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. So if you've got 10 cases of clear fraud, you and the deputy and the attorney general will sit down and decide which ones to prosecute and prioritize.
Well, Senator, when it comes to the case level, that work happens within our line AUSAs.
Counselor, I got 5 minutes. No disrespect. You're a good guy. Answer my question.
At the programmatic level and as we build out the division, those decisions will be made with the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General. With respect to specific case questions,
Do you already have cases in mind?
I do not have cases in mind, Senator.
Okay. So suppose we can agree. I think that the federal taxpayers, American taxpayers, put up between 50 and 90% of the money in the Medicaid program. States love it. Let's suppose that you have a governor who knows there's fraud in his Medicaid program, but he ignores it because he would lose all this federal money. Is that fraud?
Senator, I think that's a form of fraud, waste, and abuse. Whether it fits within the contours of criminal culpability,
Is that the sort of thing you're going to look at?
Senator, as referenced earlier, we will be looking at the full scope of fraud.
Answer my question, Counselor. Is that the sort of thing you're going to look at?
Senator, I do plan to look at the full range of potentially criminally culpable actors.
Let's suppose, are you familiar with an inspector general?
Yes,
I'm sure
Senator.
you are, because you're a good lawyer. Let's suppose, and you're aware, I'm sure, that inspectors general act independently of a cabinet secretary under the law. I think it's 5 USC section 417 can only overrule an inspector general if what that inspector general is doing is dramatically hurts the U.S. interests or some sort of pretty language like that. Let's suppose an inspector general comes in and a cabinet secretary or a senior official says to an inspector general, I want to know what cases you're investigating. And you have to tell me. And if any of them are going to impact me in terms of my reputation, I'm going to pull you off of them. Is that fraud?
Senator, I would see that as a form of conflict of interest to the extent that that'll look bad for the cabinet secretary.
I know that. Is that the sort of thing you're going to get involved in?
Senator, I will be focused on criminal prosecutions. That will be my focus in identifying fraudsters operating, taking money.
Let's suppose the Census Bureau tells you that 11% of the American people are poor, and we get to decide the definition. But we're going to exclude about 80% of the federal benefits that we give to folks in determining this 11%. So that instead of 11%, we really have only 1% of the American people that are below the poverty level. Is that fraud? Is it fraud if a cabinet secretary knows that and doesn't do anything about it?
Senator, there are a range of criminal tools that the Department of Justice can bring to bear.
Is that fraud?
Fraud in the classic sense of executing a scheme to defraud a government program, probably not.
Is it right?
No, it is not right.
Is it moral?
No, it is not, Senator.
Is it ethical?
Senator,
Does not seem ethical to me, Senator.
Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman.
Senator John Kennedy walked into that hearing room carrying something that has become increasingly rare in the halls of American government. He carried the unfiltered, unapologetic voice of the ordinary taxpayer, not the lobbyist, not the cabinet secretary, not the career bureaucrat wrapped in layers of institutional protection, the ordinary working American who sends a portion of every paycheck to Washington and simply wants to know that someone, somewhere, is making sure that money is not being stolen, misused, or quietly buried inside a statistical formula designed to make problems disappear on paper while they explode in reality. Kennedy gave that person 5 minutes of his time, and those 5 minutes said more about the state of federal accountability than most congressional sessions managed to say in months. He did not grandstand. He did not lecture. He did not perform outrage for camera. He simply asked direct questions and refused, with iron patience and Louisiana plain speak, to accept anything less than a direct answer. When the nominee drifted into bureaucratic language, Kennedy pulled him back. When the nominee reached for organizational frameworks, Kennedy cut through them. When the nominee offered careful legal qualifications instead of commitments, Kennedy named exactly what was happening and demanded better. That is not an obstruction. That is oversight. That is the Senate doing precisely what the founders intended it to do, which is hold the executive branch accountable to the people funding it. Senator Kennedy understood something in that room that the nominee perhaps was not yet ready to fully embrace. The American taxpayer is not interested in process maps. They are not interested in division building, timelines, or interagency coordination frameworks. They want to know that when a governor looks away from fraud because the money is too good to lose, someone is coming for him. They want to know that when a cabinet secretary tries to muzzle an inspector general to protect their own reputation, someone is watching. They want to know that cooking poverty statistics to hide the true scale of suffering in this country carries consequences. It is a challenge for every citizen watching to keep demanding the same thing Kennedy demanded, which is accountability. Senator Kennedy left that room having done his job with precision, courage, and an absolute refusal to settle for anything less than the truth.